Thank you so much for being here, Dr. King. Before we proceed, I would like to introduce you to our listeners and people watching you for the first time, people getting to experience you for the first time. So I had to put together a short bio because you've achieved so much, you've done so much, you continue to do so much. But I decided to make something short that will give us little time to talk more about the book and why we're here today. So Dr. Ariel King is a multifaceted figure, a speaker, entrepreneur, humanitarian, and an author of the forthcoming book, Humanity Unveiled, which I will still get to talk about shortly. She is the founder and president of Ariel Foundation International, founded in 2000, a foundation dedicated to championing the involvement of children and youth in decision-making process. She has impacted around 150,000 youths across 30 countries, emphasizing leadership, entrepreneurship, and community service. Notably, Dr. King made history by accrediting children and youth as official delegates to the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva. She holds a special economic and social committee status at the United Nations. Thank you, Dr. King, for joining me today. Before we get started,
Thank
also,
you.
I want to give a little background about the book so that our listeners can have an idea of what to expect from this conversation as well. So,
Thank you.
Humanity Unveiled is an enlightening journey that invites leaders and seekers beyond the ordinary, guiding them to uncover the essence of humanity. What it is, why it matters, its transformative power in shaping a more compassionate world. Through intimate encounters with luminaries such as Dr. Maya Angelou, Dr. Nina Simone, and President Nelson Mandela, just to mention a few, through her encounters with these luminaries, Dr. King weaves a rich fabric of insight and enlightenment, each thread unraveling a profound or some profound lessons that transcend time. These extraordinary rendezvous serve as important lessons, revealing the profound impact of each human connection or the profound impact each human connection can have on our collective understanding of what it truly means to be human. Such a powerful book. So welcome, Dr. King. I'm so happy to
Thank
have you
you,
here.
sir.
So
It's so
excited.
wonderful to be here with you today and your audience. I'm so looking forward to speaking with you and also learning more about what you do.
Yes. So here at Roving Heights Podcast, I interview and talk with authors from around the world. We get to talk about their books. We have a lot of listeners everywhere around the world. So we try to promote books written by Black people, people of color around the world. And yeah, so that's basically what we do on this
That's
podcast.
wonderful. That's truly noble. We have people from the African diaspora all over the world, and I think that it's wonderful that you're doing that, and it's needed. So thank you.
Yes. Yes, it's very much needed. Thank you. So, my first question, and this is something that is very personal to me. I am always interested in how authors come up with the title of their book because I believe that they have the full insights. So, for you to write something beautiful, something very important, and to think of a title for it, it means that I'm always interested in the thought process. So, how did you arrive at this title, Humanity Unveiled?
That's such a good question because the book it didn't come about with the title first. I was looking at the people in my life that were kind to me, that showed me interest, that showed me humanity, showed me caring, people that took the time and energy to get to know me when I had nothing to give. People that said to me, I may seem like I'm important, but right now you're important. And then I realized that what they were giving to me was something so much more than um, time. They were showing me that I'm a human being, that they have humanity, that I'm just as important as they are. And that's why I chose humanity because of the people that I've encountered and I've had, I shouldn't say encountered, people that I've had interaction with that have really changed my life. And I said unveiled because I believe that humanity is all around all of us, but many of us don't recognize it and we don't see it and we don't realize what we're seeing until after it happens. And that's the same that happened for me. All of these people that I had met and I had learned from, until I sat down and started talking about the stories and start putting it together, I didn't even realize what they were doing for me. And what they were doing for me was showing me that I live in a world of humanity where people show care and concern, and even more importantly, show me that I have value.
That's such a beautiful response. And I like that. And it's such a huge coincidence that the people that you've had these encounters with are people that are pioneers in their very respective fields, people that have shaped or continue to shape humanity as a whole. And so, in essence, this book is serving as something that is taking away the veil, something that is allowing us to see each order, to see beyond what we think is our status, to embrace humanity. I very much love that. I love that so much. Yeah.
Pardon me, I
Go
think that
on.
is so important because I believe that humanity is there for all of us to see and to experience, but many times we just don't. We're so busy living our lives, which is normal, and we're so busy trying to achieve the goals that we think we've set for ourselves, that right in front of us
Yes.
is perhaps something that we've been looking for, you know? So, what did they say? You go all around the world to wind up back at home to find what you were looking for. And that's why I call it
Yeah.
unveiled, because it's always there. But and you can
Mhm.
see it through the surface. So that's why I say unveil, and then you pull it over and say, whoa, that's what that is. That's what that is, showing me that I'm a
Yeah.
amazing person, and that they have care for me and concern for me, and that I'm exactly where I need to be in this world. I have a place in this world.
Mm. That's so touching. And I believe that this book will also serve that purpose to millions of people, telling us that, we have a purpose, we have a place in this world as well. Because you have achieved so much and you are writing this book to tell us that beyond all of that, that us matter, humanity as a whole matter as well. So thank you for
No,
writing it, taking out your time to write it.
thank
Yes.
you. Thank
So so I'm very interested in how the book is sectioned. It's sectioned in four parts,
Yes.
and three out of those four parts uh, were based on the Hillel philosophy, and the remaining one was based on your own philosophy. So in this conversation, I want us to talk about two parts from the Hillel philosophy and then your own philosophy as well. So starting from the first philosophy, the first part of the philosophy, which states, um,
If
if
I am not for
I
myself,
am not
who
for
will be?
myself,
Yeah.
yes. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah.
How that inspired you to section the book?
Thank you. Well, let me tell you the four, so then your audience knows the four, and we'll talk about the two. The first says, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself,
Mhm.
what am I? If not now, then when? And I had decided that something was missing, which is, if not me, then who? And it's really important. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? It's very important for all of us to understand that we are the first people that we need to get to know, get to understand, love, and be compassionate with. Many times, uh, not everybody, but many of us are more compassionate with other people, more patient with other people, more loving with other people, um, give more to other people than we give to ourselves. And the truth is, it's really important that we give the love, the care, the patience, the attention to ourselves, because in doing that, others know how to treat us. When people see us treating ourselves with respect and kindness and consideration, then they know that that's the standard that we expect, and then they follow suit. When we treat ourselves with disrespect, no consideration, thinking that no one should give us anything, the world actually conspires to say, oh, yes, you're right. So it's really important to think that if I am not for myself, how can anybody else be for me? Right? I mean, the first reflection that we have in a
Yeah.
mirror is of ourselves, you know? Even Michael Jackson said,
Mhm.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm looking at the woman in the mirror. I'm asking her to change her ways. It's very, very important that we look at ourselves and we understand ourselves. And once we look at ourselves and understand ourselves and champion ourselves, right? Be there for ourselves, just as we would another person,
Hmm.
then that means that others
Yeah.
do the same for us. And also, they can then themselves do it. They feel good about doing for themselves because they see not only is it okay, but actually it's a very positive and humane act to actually do for yourself, to care about yourself.
Hmm. This is This is so beautiful. And it made me think of Nina Simone, who your encounter with her is also part of this part.
Yes.
And she is someone that took care of herself. She's someone that changed her name when it was time to choose herself. She's someone that went on to sing and make the devil's music, as her parents called it, because
Yes.
she chose to be for herself. Because if not
Absolutely.
for
She was
myself,
totally
who will
authentic.
be for?
Yeah, she was
Yes.
very much someone who was totally authentic. And then when I met her, it was interesting. We were both on a international flight going from Geneva, Switzerland to Los Angeles, which is a very
Okay.
long flight. I would think at the time, this was back in the I think in the 80s. So it was more than 13, 14 hours, and we were exhausted. And I I didn't really know who she was in the beginning. We went to the baggage claim because you have to claim your baggage before you can get on your next flight. So once you go into America, wherever you go, you have to go through
Mm.
passport control and pick up your baggage. And I was at the baggage claim, and there was a dog that was in a very big crate, a very big dog, and it was coming out of the crate. And without realizing, and even now I'm a little embarrassed, I start talking to the dog. So I was like, "Oh, are you okay?" It was a very, very long flight. I mean, and I was talking to the dog, and I hear a woman in back of me. There's a woman sitting in a wheelchair. It's actually Dr. Nina Simone, but I don't know that. And she just screamed out, "And who are you?" Turned around. Hello, ma'am. My name is Ariel Rosita King. Oh, and then we started talking and having a conversation. But what was interesting is that the conversation didn't start with, oh, you're Dr. Nina Simone. Can I have an autograph? What can you give me? It actually started with me
Mm,
being kind to her dog, and she loved dogs. And
mhm.
she then told me that she was coming back to America for the first time in, I think, 20 years, 20 plus years. She was actually living in France,
Wow.
and she was coming back to ignite
Okay.
her career. And this is, I think she ignited her career, I think, between 5 and 10 years before she passed away. So she went back to America to start igniting her singing career again, and then went back to France. So it was a wonderful, I won't call it an encounter, but a
Wow.
connection. She was amazing. And even though
Yeah.
she was in a wheelchair and her hair wasn't all done up and she didn't have all her makeup on, she had absolute command. She was quite clear of herself, very sure of herself, and there was no question that she was Dr. Nina Simone, right? And not Nina Simone, not Nina Simone, Dr. Nina Simone.
Neil
She
Simone.
asked me,
Yeah.
she actually gave me her card
Yeah.
and asked me to contact her.
Mm,
In America, I tried to do that. But as you know, once you have people that are so famous like that, you have a lot of people around them that are the gatekeepers of whether or not you get contact with them. So I wasn't able to contact her again. But strangely enough, I would
yeah.
say 20 years
Yeah.
later, I met her daughter in France, who was also on stage speaking about her mother. So I got to,
Oh.
yes, I did. So I got to meet the daughter. I got to tell her about my time with her mother. And she said, "That sounds exactly like my mother." I said, "Yes." And so it's almost coming full circle. Yeah, she was an amazing,
Yeah.
and she was for
Yeah.
herself. She didn't allow anybody to decide who she was. And I think you know that she was actually a classical
Hmm.
pianist. She wanted to be a classical pianist, but she was rejected as a result of being of
Yes, I
African
do.
descent. And she was brilliant. And she had decided that,
Yes.
okay, if I can't do that, then, she was asked to sing. And she said, "But I don't sing." But then she decided to turn that around and to use
Hmm.
it for positive, for good, for people all around the world. And she always made sure to let people
Hmm.
know that she was for herself, but she was also for others and being for
Yeah.
herself.
And yes, there's something that you said that I think captures the essence of this book. So when you said you met her without knowing who she was, without being, "Hey, you're Dr. Nina Simone, can I an autograph. So you met her while you were doing the most humane thing, which is talking to the dog, which is
Yes.
petting the dog. So she sort of like saw you from that humanity perspective. She
Yes.
sort of like saw you from that unveiled perspective. This is a human being in nature of humanity, taking care of having pets, talking to the dog.
Yeah.
So I just think that captures a very huge essence of this book as well.
Thank you. Yes,
That's very
no, that's
beautiful.
very,
Very
very
beautiful.
insightful because of these 17 people that I talk about, all of them within history, some presidents, some several won the Nobel Peace Prize. It was never let me call you up and make a Zoom meeting or let me meet you at this particular place at this particular time and talk. Every single time, it wasn't for let me get something from you. Instead, it was let's share something together and see if there's something that we can do together or if we can work together.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I had nothing to offer. Sometimes I was just a student. I mean, a student in my 20s, like, for
Mm,
example, Dr. Maya Angelou, I was just a student. I had nothing, absolutely nothing to give.
mm. I'm actually very interested in the story of Dr. Maya Angelou because she's someone that personally I adore and someone that I read her memoir a couple of years ago. But before that, I'd like you to talk about this next part, which is if I am only for myself, what am I? Can you tell me more about that part?
Yes. I mean, it's really important to be for yourself, of course. But if you're only for
Mm-hmm.
yourself, that means that you have no care, no love, no connection to the rest of the world, wherever the rest of the world is. And all of us, in my belief, are put here on this earth, or we're all on this earth, not just to do for ourselves, but to contribute to humanity, to contribute to others, right? To shine a light wherever we can, depending on what our talents are, for other people also and to give them a possibility to have a different type of life as a result of our talents and our interests. Televisión, yo, mira, yo, televisión. Oh, so sorry. Thank you.
Yeah,
Back. My apology.
it's fine. Welcome back.
Thank
Good to
you.
have you back.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's so.
Yeah. So you were telling us about if I am only for myself, what am I?
Yes.
So can you wrap up?
Yes, of course,
It's
of
such an
course.
interesting concept the way you were, yeah.
Yes, thank you. So if I'm only for myself, when am I? Basically states that it's really important to be for yourself, but it's also important to be for others. I am because we are, right? I exist because we exist together. It's especially an
Yeah.
African concept,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
am because we are. I cannot be without you.
Yeah.
I cannot be without us. Part of what we need as people is other
Mm.
people. We cannot exist and live in isolation. We need to live with others. So it's really important
Mm-hmm.
also to be for others, to help others, to support others, just as we want to be supported, to care about others, also to champion others like we would do for ourselves. But we're very good at doing for others most of the time. So it's really important to do for others. Yeah, we're much better at that.
Mm. Yeah, and I see that in this section there are a lot of like very interesting people. I can see Princess Anne. I can see Desmond Tutu, also Archbishop Desmond Tutu, as someone that you talked about your encounter with them in this section. But I am very interested in your encounter with Dr. Maya Angelou because she's someone that I love and adore, and I would love to get to hear the story. I'd love to get to hear how
Thank
you
you.
encountered her.
Oh, that's a pleasure. So I was a young student. Um, if
Okay.
I remember, I was only about 19 or 20 years old, so I was very, very young. And I knew about Dr. Maya Angelou because my mother, who was also a student, Well, of course, when my mother was a student herself at the university, she also met Dr. Maya Angelou, and in our home we had the book, I
Mm.
Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. And as a teenager,
Yeah.
you go to your parents' shelf and you pull out books to try to figure out what are they reading. So at the time, it was an orange cover with something like a blackbird. I don't know what it looks like now, but I thought the design was so interesting, and I pulled it out and started reading the book.
Mm.
As a teenager, I was very shocked about the book, but at the same time, it spoke to me in that it was so honest and so human,
Yes.
so real, so real. And I thought she was such a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it again. While I was at the University of Hawaii, I heard that there was a speaker. I didn't know it was Dr. Maya Angelou, and I went to hear the speaker. And when I arrived there were no seats, of course, and the only seats that were available were up on stage. And I really didn't want to go upstage and sit on the, I think there were about 20 seats on the stage in back of her. Sorry, on the right of her, I should say, not quite in the back of her, but I didn't want to go on stage because I didn't have the capacity to stay still for very long. I was someone always on the move. It was very
Okay.
difficult for me to sit for a long time. Even in my classes, I used to stand up. I hardly ever sat in my university classes. I would stand up and listen and take it all in and so on and so forth. So I decided, if I want to hear her,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go on stage. So I went on stage, um, and I have to be honest, she captivated me. I don't know if it
Mm.
was an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Mm.
but she captivated me. And not only did I keep still, but I had no thought of ever
Mm.
wanting to move or go anywhere. And what I remember about her specifically, this presentation wasn't just a presentation. She told stories. She wove it into singing. She used her voice. She used some of her body movements. I mean, she actually had us in an incredible state of I've never seen another speaker like her. I can't even explain it. I mean, it's something like holy, something that is not of this world, that
Yeah.
you feel like you've been enveloped in something that's just never going to happen again, but that's okay because this one time is the greatest. And when she was
Yes.
done, I was exhausted, as if I had myself. She was amazing. And I knew there was going to be a reception for her, but I had a class. I was at the University of Hawaii, and I had a class. So I went back to the class,
Mm.
hoping that when I came back to the reception, I would be able to, if not talk with her, at least see her from afar. And when I got back, I was riding a moped.
Yeah.
When I got back, she was in a car, and I drove past her. She actually put her window down and said, "Can I help you, baby?" I was just done. I said, I said, "No, ma'am, you've given me everything that I could possibly ask for. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful." And she left. That evening, I had decided that she had given me such a gift of life, that what she gave me was so
Mm.
amazing that I wanted to give her music. I was playing the guitar, recording music in a music studio, and selling it in the island of Greece. So every summer I would sell my music after writing original music. And I thought she gave me such a gift
Wow.
that I wanted to give her something back. But
Mm-hmm.
what could I possibly give her? And I thought I can give her my music because that's something that I can share of myself, not to take from her, but to give to her. So I called someone that I knew and I said, "Do you
Mm-hmm.
know where I can drop this off?" And he said, "Yes." He gave me the address and he told me what time to go. So I go to this address and I think it's going to be someone's house and they're going to give it to her. It's a long stay hotel, kind of like an apartment
Okay.
hotel in Alamo,
Oh,
which is an area of Honolulu, Hawaii. A woman comes down, she
okay.
takes me upstairs, and I'm shocked. It's Dr. Maya Angelou. She invites me into her apartment.
Wow.
I'm not joking. She invites me into her apartment and she asked me, "Where would you like to stay?" So when you come in, there's a kitchen on the left-hand side, there's a living room, and then there's a terrace. We both sat up on the terrace. And I then started to explain to her, "Thank you so much for what you gave me. I just wanted to give you, I was shocked because I wasn't trying to get anything more from her. I just wanted to give back something. And
Mm.
I gave her
Mm.
the tape. By the way, that's how old this is. So it was a tape, the tape that we used to have. That's how old this was. Um,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I gave her a letter. Now, here's the problem. I didn't call her by her first name because I know better. And I called her Dr. Maya
Okay.
Angelou, but the letter said, Dear Maya. She read the letter and she said, oh, I
Oh.
was in trouble. She said, baby, I'm not Maya to you. You can call me Dr. Angelou. You can call me Auntie Maya. You can call me Dr. Maya, but you can't call me Maya because we're not friends. I said, yes, ma'am. And I said, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say. She said, no, no, you wrote it. I said, yes, ma'am. But she didn't chastise me in a negative way. She was like an aunt. She was
Mm.
loving and caring and warm. And after that, she spent time asking me, what did I want to do? What was I doing? What was I studying? What was my future? What were my goals? And I was so surprised.
Mm.
It was about an hour of talking with me. And I just thank God for that gift. At the end, we were standing by the door where I was going to leave. And she said, do you have any more questions? I said to her, yes. How do you do it? How do you
Mm.
give so much of yourself? How do you do
The
that? And then
world.
how do you give so much of yourself? And how do you feel when people ask you for more when you've given them everything?
Mm.
And
Mm.
she just said to me, kiss. I said, excuse me? She said, keep it simple, sweetie. And she she didn't give me a card to contact her again, but I didn't want or need to contact her again because she gave me so much.
Yeah.
No, it was so
Yeah.
unexpected. First of all, I'm driving my moped one way and she's leaving and she stops. She has the car stop. No, she's not driving. She's in the back of the car. She tells him to stop. She rolls down her
Mm-hmm.
and asks me, what can she do for me? Can you imagine?
Wow.
What an amazing woman.
The kindness is,
Phenomenal.
yeah,
I mean, just um beyond anything I've ever
phenomenal,
seen.
phenomenal woman.
She is. She
And it's so,
is.
it's it's such an interesting thing that this is Women's Month, and we're talking about these very beautiful, very phenomenal women.
Yeah.
And I watched her performance of one of her poems, and I was so enchanted, even even as
Yes.
I was watching it from my screen. So
Yes.
I can't imagine what you went through, being in her presence, experiencing her speak. Her ability to just charm and keep you very.
And the
She's
audio
such a
was almost
phenomenal
like
woman.
a
Phenomenal.
it was in a church, but not the
Mm,
kind of church you would think of, but it was still a church hall. So the
mm.
vibrations and the sound was fabulous. So and I
Oh,
what
okay.
was so amazing to me is that she didn't memorize it. You know how people stand there with something in front of them? She
Yes,
lived
yes, yes.
and told the stories as if it was happening right there and then,
Wow.
including the music in it and
Wow.
segueing into the singing and the moving of her body and the I've
Yes.
never seen anything like
And
it.
the click.
Yes, yes, she's amazing. She brings you to another place. The place where you think you are, you
Wow.
no longer because she brings you to another place. And this was
Wow.
more than 40 years ago, and I still remember. I still
Mm,
hold
mm,
the time with her sacred because it's really changed my life. And it's made me understand who I am,
yeah.
respect myself, and it's helped me also to help younger people also learn to respect themselves. So to use their correct name. Don't anglicize their name. Don't change their name. Use your name. Your name is
Mm-hmm.
your culture and your
Yeah.
history, part of it.
Yes.
Expect people to do well for you. Expect to be taken care of in a proper way. Expect to be treated with kindness and respect. Expect. And she helped me with that, especially when she said, baby, you can't call me Maya. You can call me Auntie Maya.
I can picture her saying that. She's the
Yes,
type of person to say that.
yes, 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 yes. Yeah. She's just
Oh, that's so beautiful. I can't imagine how you internalized all of that for all of these years and the insights that has given that has given you as a person, and how you've been able to put it into this book as a gift again to the reader. So we're getting two insights, two perspectives. We're getting insight into you, we're getting insight into Maya Angelou, and all of it is coming together under this philosophy that if I am only for myself, what am I? So
yes, yes.
fantastic.
And you saw
Fantastic.
it. She wasn't only for herself. She had given everything she was supposed to give. She needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said. She said, "Can I help you?" And I thought, how much more could you give me? You gave me everything. Like, what more could
Yeah.
I possibly ask for?
Yeah.
But you know what? Isn't it surprising? She figured out a way to give
Mm.
me more. And I was just a student, right? Just
Yeah.
a student. And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing because I only went there to give her something back. And I didn't even think I would see her. I thought I would see someone who
Mm.
would give it to her. I thought I would never see her again. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
Yes, I
thank you
know.
very much for that. That's
Pleasure. Pleasure.
I can go on and asking you questions and just listening to you talk. I can go on the whole day. But this next part of the book, if not now, then when, I want us to reserve it for the reader. I want them to experience something that we've not gotten to talk about, we've
Yes.
not gotten to bridge or discuss in any way, shape, or form. So something completely a gift to the reader.
Yes.
Um,
Opened.
yes, and yes, and I am very interested in how you coined this philosophy to complete this because now it feels so whole. This next part, if not me, then who? When you said that you felt there was something missing, because I read it from a whole perspective, so I didn't get to feel that there was something missing. But now that you said you felt that there was something missing, so you had to add that part. And I thought about it. I'm like, yes, without that final part, it feels like a statement, a sentence that was cut short, before
Yes.
it got to the end. Yes. So please
Yes.
tell me about how you came about this, how long you felt it was missing, and because this fits so perfectly.
Yes. Yes. I think that um just looking at the statements, to be for myself, to be for others, and to do it now. But so many of us, including
Mhm.
myself, look to others to make it happen. And I think that's just part of human nature. It's just part of human nature. And it's so much
Mhm.
easier to say, well, that person should have done this. Why didn't they do it? Or um, there's a there's a problem over there. They should take care of that. And I realized that
Mm.
perhaps that's true. Or let me give you a very easy example. You're walking on the street and I won't say somebody needs help, that's too much, but let's say something as small as there's some garbage on the street that you can pick up, but if you don't pick it up, it'll spread all over, right? And you say, well, no, no, there's
Mhm.
somebody that can do that. They get paid for that. I pay my taxes, they can do it. That's true. My
Yeah,
thinking is, you know what?
that's true.
I'm here, I see it, I'll do it. And this is a simple thing, but this also means that if I see something in the world that needs to change, then it's upon me to make that change. Right? Once again,
Change. Yes.
I'm looking at the woman in the mirror. I'm looking at myself and saying, wonderful that you think everybody else should do it. Okay. But now that you know that it's something that needs to be done, you do it. If they do it,
Yeah.
wonderful. If they don't, fine. That's not your concentration. You concentrate you concentrate on what you can do to make the world better, how you can heal yourself and others around you, how you can heal some of the chasms between, many of the young people going through all kinds of, I would say, difficulties and sometimes loneliness and frustration and, of course, fear and just really feeling alone, you know?
Mm.
It's so difficult. So what can
Yeah.
you do to make life better? People made life better for you. They said, right? If not me, then who? All the people that I've had these wonderful, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what you say, I won't say encounters, but that I've had these experiences with. I've had all these experiences because they said, if not me, then who? They said, okay, Ariel Rosita King, I'm here for you. I'm going to speak with you. I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to try to understand with you. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to be a possible path for you to try to follow. And that's where that comes from,
Mm.
right? If not me, then who? This
Yeah.
was this was shown to me. This was given to me. And then I realized also from my own family that taking responsibility and realizing that you can make a difference means everything. Rather than sitting around waiting for someone else, you do it. You try
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
why I decided that,
Mm.
it wasn't complete. I think it's quite
Uh,
bold of me to try to say that a very famous philosopher forgot something. But but I have to say
yeah.
honestly, I go by these words. I live by these words every day. And I knew something was missing because I knew that, well, this is all great, but if something needs to be done, then it needs to be me.
Yeah. It's so it adds a fullness to it, you
Right,
know. It
right,
makes it complete, it makes it very round. Yeah.
right.
And
If not me, then
it's
who? Who's
interesting
supposed to
that
do it? If not me, then who?
I'm think I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about gifts that this book is, because in this part you also talk about your experience with Dr. Nelson Mandela.
Yes,
And he is someone that said, if not me, then who?
right,
He is someone that said, I will pick up this trash on the road. I am not waiting for the person I'm paying. I'm not
right.
paying, even if I'm paying taxes, I am going to do it. You
That's
know?
right. That's
So
right.
I yeah,
People are
it's
amazing,
wonderful.
aren't
Please
they?
tell
People
me
are
about
truly, truly amazing. People are
yeah,
truly amazing. Uh,
yeah. Yeah, and I'm also interested in your experience with Pope Francis, because he's also someone else that said, if not me, then who? Because of how he came into the so he's someone else. And let's just talk about Nelson Mandela first, and then
okay,
we'll wrap up with with Pope
okay.
Francis. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I was doing field work for my PhD in South Africa. And my school was at the London School of Hygiene and
Okay.
Tropical Medicine. And I was looking at pharmaceutical policies within hospitals. This is after apartheid. And
Hmm.
I was a young person meeting other young people, and I had a very, very good friend who was a young lawyer who was actually helping to construct the new constitution of South Africa. And
Oh, wow.
I know he's amazing, amazing gentleman, amazing gentleman. And he said to me, "Well, Ariel, I'm going to Cape Town. Would you like to come and meet?" And he didn't call him what I want to say with respect, President Mandela, Mandiba.
Hmm.
Oh yes. Oh,
And then you
no.
were shocked.
Well, I was. He said, "Well, I'm going to make an appointment for you." At the time, I lived in Pretoria, which is a very different, area. You have to either fly or go. It's very far away. So near
Okay.
Johannesburg, living in Pretoria, and this is in Cape Town. So he didn't go, but he made an appointment for me to meet President Nelson Mandela. And I get there and I'm amazed because I'm where I don't know what you call it, um, the parliament is, yes? So I'm in the new parliament. Remember, this is the new South Africa. This is after de Klerk,
Hmm.
right? And then Nelson Mandela, by the way,
Yeah.
de Klerk is also in the book, F.W. de Klerk.
Yes.
So I've also met him
Yes. Yes.
at a different
I saw
time,
that.
right? So, and I'm amazed because this is quote unquote, if not the new South Africa, the South Africa coming into itself, trying trying to
Hmm.
trying to develop into itself, right? And
Yeah.
I get there and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him, and I'm told
Yeah.
that he had to be. that he had to go to Congress. There was some kind of bill that was going in that he had to be there for. And I'm going to be very embarrassed. So what he did instead is he had me talk with his comrade. They call him Kitatra, called him Kit. He's the gentleman of
Okay.
Indian descent that said his father was Biko, right? He was young, and
Hmm.
Nelson Mandela was like his brother.
Okay.
And he actually went to prison with Nelson Mandela, believe it or not. They all went to, he was part of the
Oh,
ANC and they went to prison together. So while I'm waiting for my
wow.
appointment with President Mandela, I get to speak with another icon, another person who's been part of history. And I'm
Yeah.
a little bit in shock,
So,
but he tells me stories about him and Mandiba and what they've gone through, how many years he went in prison, because he went to prison at the same time for the same amount of time, for the same length of time, and they went as a group. That
mm,
ANC went as a group into the prisons and explained to me what happened in the prisons and how he was treated differently because he was of Indian descent, which they called in at the
wow.
time colored, excuse me. So, they had
Yeah.
variations of what, and he also told me about how he was treated differently. He had different food, he had different clothes, he had to
Mm,
do different work, and so on and so forth.
mm,
And he also told me how President Nelson Mandela, he didn't want to do it, but how President Nelson Mandela basically said, no, no, whatever they give you, you take. Don't reject
mm,
anything. Instead, what we're going to ask
yeah.
for is the same. Don't take less like we have. We're going to ask for the same. So I stayed with him for about an hour with
Okay.
appointment with President Nelson Mandela, and that appointment never happened. I was quite disappointed. They said it would happen again.
Mm,
But what was interesting is that the next week he sent me a picture that said, Dearest Rosita, Mandiba. And I still have that photo now.
mm,
And I thought, this gen
mm.
this gentleman, he's the new president of an entire country trying to heal itself. I am nobody interesting, nobody important.
Mm,
He takes the time to basically have me speak to the person who went with him to jail, who himself is an icon, who
mm-hmm.
himself is extremely important and has a lot to do.
Yeah.
He puts me in his safe hands in
Mm-hmm.
order to say, you're important to me. I just want you to hold on. I'm going to Congress. I'll be back. And then even after the appointment, usually people that busy would say, oh, well, let her deal with it. He makes sure
Yeah.
that I get a
Yeah.
photo of him, it's this big, with my name, Dear Sorosita. And by the way, this is in the book.
Wow.
The photos in the book, Mandiba, with the date.
Yeah.
And I'm
Mm.
touched because this man is
Yes.
saving the country, decides that somehow I'm important enough to give a picture. And then he also
To
said,
get this.
we're going to meet. So for him to do that, to think that us not meeting because he had to go into Congress
Mm.
was so important, but even more importantly, not to
Wow.
forget me. Now, you know what's interesting about this photo? I
Yes.
haven't seen it anywhere until I went to the United States. I went to the Smithsonian just this winter. I
Mm.
went to the Smithsonian. I saw the same photo in the Smithsonian. And I said,
Photo.
yes, the same photo of Nelson
Wow.
Mandela. It's an official photo. And I thought, because I had no
Mm.
way to show that this was really him, that he really signed it. And
Mm.
I saw this official photo and I thought, oh my goodness, I've never seen that photo anywhere. But it's in the Smithsonian, which is a museum within
Mm.
Washington, D.C. And mine has, so
Yeah.
it was a meeting that could have happened, should have happened, but never happened. But still, he showed so much care for me, so much consideration of me. The fact that he would meet me
Yeah.
anyway. Once again, I was a student. I wasn't like, the youth ANC or anything. I was just a student,
Yeah.
a PhD student.
Wow.
And for him to say, listen,
Wow.
Kit, they called him Kit, Kit, could you please, be with Ariel Rosita? He actually called me Rosita rather than Ariel. Rosita, can you go with Rosita? And he stays with me for that hour
Mm,
waiting for him to come back. Um, wow, just amazing. Just amazing. So that's my
wow.
story of Nelson Mandela. I didn't get to see him face to face, but the truth is, I didn't need to because he gave me grace and humanity in what he did. First of all, by
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
giving me an appointment, an actual appointment to meet me, having
Mm-hmm.
someone else say, listen, I'm really sorry, I have to head off to Congress. Basically an emergency that I have to deal with because, it's a new parliament. Or excuse me, not currently,
Mm-hmm.
giving me his Conrad, that's like his brother, right? This is like his brother.
Mm. Yeah.
And then afterwards,
Yeah.
making sure that he sends a photo personally autographed all the way back to Pretoria. I don't know how he did that. And put it in my hand and said, here, I'm really so sorry that we missed our meeting. Really? You're sorry? Oh, wait. You're sorry to miss our meeting? Thank you. Hey, that gave
Yeah.
me
It's
such joy of myself. It said, you care about me. You think I'm important. Wow, if you think I'm important, then maybe I am important, and maybe I can also do something to make the world as good as you're making the world. It just made such a difference.
yeah.
Not giving me a big head of, oh, look who I am, but saying, I think I can do that too. I can't be Nelson Mandela. I
Mm,
can't be Dr. Maya Angelou. I can't be Dr. Nina Simone, but I can be Ariel Rosita King, and I can contribute to the world in whatever way that I can and show that humanity that was shown to
yeah.
me in whatever way I can.
Yeah. And I see what I'm learning from all of this is compassion, compassion, compassion.
Yes.
You know, regardless of your status, regardless of where you are in society, we should show our fellow humans compassion. It's
Yes.
I
You're
can't stop thinking
important.
about it.
Yes,
Very
the
important.
compassion, you're important. You matter. You have value.
Mm-hmm.
My time with you has
Mm-hmm.
value, right? Your time with
Yeah.
me has value. Even to send me the photo back, I wasn't able to meet with you, but I want you to know that it was important to me. Wow, that was important to you, but
Mm-hmm.
you're the president of South Africa. Well,
Yeah.
really? Yes, yes. So I
Wow.
treasure that. I really treasure that. I was actually in his office also, so I treasure all of that. I was quite fortunate. Really, I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to call it fortunate.
Yeah.
It's so unusual to be able to even glimpse those halls and to be given such incredible consideration with nothing to give back.
Yeah. Wow. This has been very amazing and very life-changing, this conversation. I'm almost speechless because I'm trying to internalize a lot. I'm trying to process a lot, and
Yes.
I'm trying to learn a lot at the same time because this is such a teachable moment for me, for someone still starting out at the world, to learn so much about how to navigate the world, how to treat human beings, how to see, beyond, oh, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that, how to be present, be present in ourselves, in our lives as well. So thank you very much for this. Before we round up, because of our time, I'm still very interested in Pope Francis. If you can,
Okay, sure.
left for me, we can go for
Okay.
4 hours, but if you
Okay,
can please tell me
I
about
will make it very short because the readers can read it in the book, the full story.
yes,
But to make the story
yes,
short, I have a foundation that works with children and youth for 22 years, and we have what we call economic
mm-hmm,
and social status with the United Nations. And there was a
okay,
person who was going all over Europe to raise awareness about child abuse in general. And he was walking all over Europe, and our foundation
okay,
helped to pay for it. And when we didn't have a driver for the camping car, I even learned how to drive a camping car to make sure that he kept going. So he walked through 28 states. His name is Matthew McBarsh.
wow,
He walked through 28 states. And we were meeting the Pope together. And we went to the
okay,
Vatican. We went to the Vatican, and I'm very, very glad that we did it. We had a personal invitation, and
mm,
got there very, very early, extremely early. And it's quite funny because at the Vatican, you think you have your invitation, you just walk in. Well, when they opened up the gates, you had nuns who must have like ran the 30-yard dash or something in seconds. They were like somebody, you know how you have
Wow.
a sale at a store, so maybe you have something like, let's say, an iPhone that's worth 1,000, US dollars, and they're
Yeah.
selling it for $10. And those people like, I'm going to be the first. Well, these
Yeah.
like that. And they were pushing us out of the way and they were booking it. I had never seen none so fast in my life. Once we arrived inside this smaller chapel, when I say smaller, I think we had 3,000 people. We were up in the front.
Okay.
Up in the front are people who are getting married, right, in the second row, so that they want blessings. And then
Mm,
the first row,
mm,
there are about 8 of us. And I guess you would consider, I won't say that we were VIPs, but there were 8 of us that had a personal meeting with the Pope. And I was one of the 8.
okay.
And in back of us were people,
Okay.
right? In back of us were about 2,000 people. And also
Mm,
have pictures that of course are in the book of my meeting with the Pope. And he
yeah.
came to me. I have to be honest, I'm not Catholic, and I was really, really
Mm,
impressed by his, I don't know if you call it spirituality, but there was something very calming and accepting. You don't have to be Catholic. You don't
mm,
have to be Christian. You don't have to fit in that to feel his light and his love and his compassion. And I thought that was so interesting because I have no real connection to the
mm,
religion itself. And he came to me, we talked,
yeah.
held my hand, I held his. I had a picture of my oldest daughter in my hand and asked him, it's for my youngest daughter was born, asked him for prayers for our family and for her. And he took her picture and he took a very careful look at it and started praying with me. And there were 3,000 people in back of me, but in that moment, there was nobody there but he and I. And I'm getting teary because
Mm,
what was so interesting about being with him is that it wasn't about religion. It wasn't about saying the proper words,
yes.
you're Catholic. It wasn't about somehow, well, what are
Mm,
you? Are you Christian? It was nothing like that. There was an
mm,
acceptance of me and uh, a prayer for my family and my well-being that felt quite real.
mm,
I was really surprised also about his charisma, I have to be honest. I had no idea that someone
mm,
could have this kind of aura and charisma. And not because he's the Pope, but he had that anyway. You could meet him somewhere else and you would still feel that charisma, that light, that warmth, that inner strength, that inner being that's very sure of itself and its reason for being in the world.
yeah.
Um,
And
it was exceptional.
wow,
Absolutely exceptional.
I can I can imagine. And I see how this also truly captures the essence of this book because it's saying you have to think beyond religion. You have to think beyond a particular religion, whether you're Catholic or you're not Catholic. It's about embracing one another. It's about loving each other, praying for each other. It's
Being human,
these are just so
loving being human, reveling in being human. Um, really,
yeah.
really being grateful and showing what humanity looks like. Because all of us, sometimes
Mm,
humanity means grace, being given the time, the energy, the pass. All of us are going through all types of things sometimes. All of us have our difficulties. When someone says, you know what, I know you're having difficulties. I'm not going to take advantage of you. I'm not going to do something against you. Instead, I'm going to give you grace. Instead, I'm going to see how I can be there for you. I'm going to listen. I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to see if I can help. I'm going to treat you like you're an important human being. I'm going to treat you with humanity.
Yeah.
Yes. Very,
Mm,
very
mm.
different.
That's okay. Thank you, Dr. King. This episode is one of my favorite. It's going to be one of my favorite at this point because I
Thank you.
don't know. I believe my life has changed. I believe that the person I was at the beginning of this is no longer the person I am now,
Oh,
and
thank
you've
you,
given me
sir.
so much. It's given me so much to think about, so much to, process, basically. And I'm interested, do we have a date for the publication of this book? When can we expect to
Yes.
find it in the market?
Thank you. It's actually in the market now for pre-sales, and pre-sales
Yeah.
will be happening just now, only in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And for pre-sales,
Okay.
20% of the book price will actually go to Ariel Foundation International, to children and youth, because we are a totally volunteer organization, which is quite unusual, including myself. I'm a volunteer for 22.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it goes back to young people like yourself. And the first is going to be, of course, a hard copy. So first out is a hard copy, then the soft copy, and then also we're going to be doing
Mm,
in other languages. And if your audience would
okay.
like to say, I would love to know, what African language would you like this book to be put into for your audience? What African language uh,
Okay.
would like this book
I'm
to be?
going I'm going to put that as a survey in the description of this episode so that
Thank you.
our
I would
audience
love that.
can
Thank you. Because we're going to be doing
yeah.
it in European languages, of course, French and Spanish, German. Um,
Okay.
we
Okay.
might possibly have Chinese and Arabic, but you know what? Africa too.
Yeah, of course. That's a good. That's a good. All right. So pre-sales are going down. We're going to put the link up so that our audience as well can pre-order it ahead of the release date. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir, for
Thank
the
you. I
privilege.
can't
We really
appreciate.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Can't appreciate you enough. You've given us more than we can ask for. You've given us more
Oh,
than we
that,
can ask
that
for.
sounds like my experiences. So thank you for that. If I really did that, then all of the people that have given me their time and their energy and their humanity, that means somehow I'm helping to pass it on. So thank you. For me, that's one of the biggest gifts that I could possibly give. So thank you for that.
All right. All right. Okay. So talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah.